Can you talk with us a little bit about your organization, Blue Missouri? I know you've raised over $500,000 for state candidates since 2017. Talk to us about the impact there and where you're heading with the midterms.
So, like I said, there were 44% of the seats that were uncontested when I ran. And now this year we only have 2% uncontested. So we have made huge gains and with my organization, but also, the Missouri Democratic Party, they're out there trying to get candidates all the time. The problem is you don't have money for those candidates, right? Mm-hmm. The state party doesn't have money for the candidates. The national party sure isn't sending money into Missouri because they look at us and they go, it's too red. Why would we compete there? Well, then the state parties do the same thing in districts like mine. My district that I ran in hasn't elected a Democrat in 32 years. They have never elected a woman. It's very difficult to get someone to run. And you know what? No one is running for state rep this term. But Blue Missouri decided this. We flip everything on its head. You know how a lot of organizations, most organizations, I would say, is they put the money in the flippable races, the ones they can win. And we're like, how do you know it's flippable? How do you know what can win? How do we know when we haven't had a candidate in 20 years down in the boot hill? How do we know someone can't win? And so we start from the bottom. So we start with the candidates who have raised the least. And these are always candidates in the reddest, most rural, most difficult races. And we come in and with our donors, and it looks like we're going to have around $300,000 to give to down-ballot Democrats in Missouri, which makes us the biggest donor to Democratic candidates in the entire state. We give more than the party does, right? That's because people believe in the mission. We give these people money. We give them $5,000, $7,000, and that raises the funding floor. So that means nobody running for state ledge in the state has less than $7,000. They buy literature. They buy gas because a lot of them are traveling hundreds of miles because these districts are massive because they're rural. Right. They can buy signs. They can buy ad time. They can buy billboards. And I do want to say something because you hear from a lot of strategists who will say, don't waste your money on signs. Signs don't vote. Not in rural spaces because I put out these signs and I live in a town of 480 people. Every person that drives by my little farm says, oh my gosh, I can be pro-education. I can be pro-worker. I can be pro-healthcare, including for women, right? It's okay. And I'm safe here because I see that somebody else believes the way that I do. And so we get them this money. And you know what has happened so far? We really haven't seen a whole lot of races being able to flip because we've been at it about a decade, a little less than a decade. But what we have seen is gaining 10 points or 15 points in a place where nobody had competed for decades. We've seen us be able to strike down our abortion ban. We overturned it. We overturned right to work. We have recreational weed in Missouri because we are putting these things on the ballot and people, when we talk to them, know I can go out and vote for this stuff. So it makes a huge impact to donate to people that nobody else will donate to. And it's really immoral. I will say this, to ask people to run and stick their neck out in a place where they could get fired from their job, ostracized from their church, and then not to fund them. I mean, that's terribly immoral. So that's what we do at Blue Missouri.
Well, I know that. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Sam.
you go ahead.
I was going to say, I know that Missouri is, I think, one of a half dozen states that redrew its congressional map this year. A lot of red states are doing this. Can you talk with us about what kind of impact that's going to have, not just for congressional races, but did they also redo your legislative maps as well?
So Missouri is one of the states where we didn't, unlike California, unlike Virginia, they put it on the ballot and let their citizens vote whether they wanted these maps. Missouri did not do that. They gerrymandered us, and they picked a seat in Kansas City where we have had a Black congressman for 2 decades, and they have taken his small little district that encompassed Kansas City and pulled it out wide to the east side of the state to pull in a whole bunch of white rural voters trying to water down his district. So it's dangerous what they're doing. But I will say this, and Sam would know this because he's from Kansas. Just because you gerrymander a seat doesn't mean it'll win. And we can look at places like Kansas with Sharice Davids, who has won twice in a gerrymandered district, right? You know what she did? She got out and worked. She got out and talked to the folks. She knocked the doors and did the work, and she won. It can be done. And people in Missouri, I know people look at us and say we're so red. Friends, we weren't that red. We were so uncontested. We just didn't contest these races. Look at our ballot initiatives and realize we're a state where we had an abortion ban and legalized weed. Okay. So none of these things make sense. It's because we're not that red. It's because we didn't have people to vote for. Like I said, I haven't been able to vote in a county-wide election in a decade because I have never had a Democrat to run countywide. Not sheriff, not dog catcher, not anything. And so once we break into at least running, then we can see what we're working with. And that's where we are right now at this point in Missouri. I think the gerrymander is making people angry. We voted 2 years ago to raise the minimum wage and also give workers earned sick time. They took it away from us. We voted 58% for it, and in one vote, they took it away from us. My neighbor is a Republican. Now, she doesn't vote for Trump, but she's a Republican. She's so mad she can't see straight because of what they did. She's voting for Democrats because of what they've done. They have overplayed their cards. They are over their skis. They are in a mess. And I have a congressional seat that is going to be, up for grabs. And I have 2 congressional candidates that are knocking doors saying, well, I'm going to do what Trump wants me to do. And I said, friend, I hope you keep that message. I hope you keep knocking doors and telling them you're going to do what Trump wants you to do because he's unpopular. You go talk to a farmer who can't get any access to fertilizer. You get to a farmer who has a year's worth of soybeans in his bins, and you tell him how much you're going to follow Trump's, whatever he's doing, his craziness. See how far that gets you.
Yeah, the Kansans and Missourians feel like they are aggressively antagonistic and skeptical, right? And yes. I think that's, even in the Dust Bowl, it took so much pleading for farmers to just grow windrows and cover crop because they were like, who is this guy telling me this? Right? I don't know you. It is a skepticism of all things external and outside. And I think that the Republicans have had know this, and they know that they can stoke divide really easily by claiming somebody else is out to get them or, all of these things. And when you don't have Democrats face to face with the community, then they believe it.
Right.
You gotta run.
I knocked a lot of doors and people would tell me, I don't think I've ever seen a Democrat in real life. And I'm like, friend, your neighbor two doors down is a Democrat, but she doesn't say anything. She doesn't put out signs because she's scared to do so. Now, me, I'm not scared anymore. And, and a lot of my neighbors aren't either. 4 years ago, when I started doing this, I went to a little town called Cameron, Missouri. There's about 9,000 people in the town. And I met with some folks who were worried about their school board because it was being overtaken by extremists. They wanted to meet me in the basement of the church, and they didn't park their cars outside because they were worried about people seeing them. I just went back to Cameron, Missouri about 6 weeks ago. There were over 100 people. There were so many people, it ended up being standing room only, and they were out in the hallway. They had candidates, and they all parked in front of the building, and everyone knew what they were doing because they advertised it. 4 years difference. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what's given me tons of hope.